Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Trambakam yajamahe Sugandhim pushtivardhanam Purvarukamiva bandhanan Mrityurmukshiyamamrutat. Sahanavavatu Sahano bhunaktu Sahaviyam karavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityo Ma Mrityungamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good morning. You're all very, very sincere. I just see our foreign language students. They're so reluctant to come to prayer meeting. I don't want to compel anybody. Earlier we used to be so strict. This institute we ran for almost 35 years. My predecessors, the directors who were here before me, they were so strict with regard to punctuality. If you would come 5 minutes late, they would send you back home. So I thought actually, maybe we are too unkind. Maybe we need to be a little soft here because you have to use private conveyance and sometimes public transport. When you use public transport, it's not in your hands. Then you would be able to arrive. It depends upon the bus. Most of the students were coming by bus. So I relaxed it. Okay, you can just come by 7:45. It's a morning batch. So I just see spoken English students are very, very sincere. They're trying their best to be, to come to the class on time. So foreign language students, I see. So to what extent a rule should be enforced? If you allow freedom, they misuse it. They take too much of liberty. If you enforce it strictly, it's a kind of compulsion from outside that gives pain, right? Anything that you do out of your own volition or will is sweet, beautiful, right? If something is enforced from outside, it creates a kind of stress in the individual. you feel suffocated, right? Everybody wants freedom. So, but sometimes we misuse the freedom. That's where restrictions, rules, discipline is necessary. Because there is no guarantee that if you are allowed the full freedom, you will use the freedom to your advantage. Hmm? You may use the freedom against your own self. Only for human beings this happens. That's why God has given us the freedom, but most of the time, if you look at the world, we tend to misuse that freedom. That's what human beings are suffering nothing other than their own freedom today. Our idea of freedom is very juvenile. Juvenile, I mean, very primitive. Freedom means just to do whatever you feel like doing. But that is slavery. Because the mind is not your friend as yet. మనస్సు మనకి మిత్రుడు కాలేదు ఇంకా. మనస్సుని మిత్రుడిగా చేసుకోవటమే యోగా. All religion, philosophy, spirituality, the goal is to sublimate the lower impulses, to bring the mind under our control. Not we should be under the control of the mind. And to bring the mind under our control, what it takes, only the person who has conquered the mind knows. So it's not a one day job. It's not that easy. Today our mind is riding on us. So, but the youth particularly, they don't want any restriction. They don't want any kind of discipline. If somebody enforces from outside, they want to be free. But what is your idea of freedom? Giving free reins to the mind. మనసుకి వదిలేయటం, పగ్గాలు ఇచ్చేయటం. Now that is slavery. That is slavery. Today we always talk about freedom. When we talk about freedom, we understand only political freedom and economic freedom or social freedom at the most. Most of us, we don't need understand that the real freedom is freedom from want, freedom from the senses. Freedom from the senses, that is a higher aspiration. If the society actually fails to cultivate this higher aspiration, the societies will go down. Then the other day there was an accident in a stampede in Korea. Okay, I was just reflecting, precious young life has been lost. Why such a huge number of young people had gathered there? It's a kind of, they were partying. It's a kind of revelry. Such a huge number of people thronged at one particular place. Why? The young generation, the young people across the world are actually seeking for a drop of happiness. They're seeking for a drop of happiness. It happened in an advanced nation. If it had happened in a third world country or in an underdeveloped nation, I would not have bothered, but it had happened in an advanced nation. Korea is a rich country today, actually. Why did that happen? People were seeking a drop of happiness, young people. They have the right to choose to do whatever they like. But the thing is, you have not taught them the true way of finding joy. Japan, Korea, China. Earlier, actually, they used to practice a lot of Buddhism, a lot of meditation. They used to practice, particularly in Japan and Korea. Of course, China today is a communist country. It's antagonistic to any kind of spirituality and religion. And whereas Japan and Korea, they have become indifferent to all spiritual values. Because you have not taught them, the people, how to derive happiness from within through meditation, through prayer, through selfless service. Right? They are seeking happiness elsewhere. How else they seek happiness? Through partying, through drink, through drug. You are exploring yourself. It's good. Of course, you will come around. Afterwards, you will find that there is nothing here. True happiness cannot be derived in this way. You will come to spirituality in the end. But when, in the meantime, actually, this all will happen. So everybody actually is seeking happiness, but only problem is people don't know where lies true happiness. Selfless service and meditation will give you far greater happiness, but you are not been made to taste them. Nobody taught you. When you were in school, if you had been taught all these things, you would not need all these, kinds of putting or seeking happiness from these things. I'm not finding fault with the youth, actually. It's not their fault. It's the fault of the government, it's the fault of the elders, it's the fault of the teachers and the parents. You have not taught them the real way to make oneself happy. Selfless service, you just make an experiment with yourself. It will give you far greater joy than anything else. Just touch one life. You just help them actually, give them the good piece of advice. One life. Swamiji, that's why he says, actually, in this hell of a world, if you can make one individual happy at least for a few minutes, that alone is a religion. I know everything else is mere moonshine. ఈ దుఃఖభూయిష్టమైనటువంటి ప్రపంచంలో ఒక్క మనిషికి నువ్వు కొద్ది నిమిషాల పాటు ఆనందాన్ని కలిగిస్తే నీతోటి మనిషికి అదే మతాచరణ మత అనుష్ఠానం అంటారు. So you just look for that. There is so much of suffering around. How can I help the society? How can I help my fellow human beings? In whichever ways that's possible for you. And that will give you joy. Swamiji says again and again, the best way to make yourself joyful is to give others joy. Once you experience this kind of joy, you don't need all these things, all this stuff. People are actually, what are they getting addicted? You say that you don't need all this boredom, all the desperation, hmm? uh, meaninglessness in life, alienation, all this feeling will not be there. You're rich from within. You're so joyful and happy from within. You're so full from within. You'll be bubbling actually. You will be actually emanating bliss. The Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, how did actually he derive his happiness? Full of happiness all the time, 24 hours. Happiness, happiness. Whoever had gone to him, his presence, they felt happiness there automatically because he was radiating bliss and happiness because he had touched the core of his own being. So these prophets and these messengers of God and these saints and sages would be able to guide us well. You know, they knew actually where lies true happiness. But if you go away from their teachings, if you don't care them, then automatically you'll feel very desperate about seeking some happiness from outside, and you actually explore through all these things. You try to gain happiness, but you won't really gain happiness because happiness is not there out. So it's very important, cultural and spiritual empowerment. If that is not done, even I am saying that in developed nations also, if you just look at society like American society, as I keep telling you again and again, America spends $4 trillion on its health. $4 trillion. You know what is a trillion? Hmm? $4 trillion, bigger than India's GDP. Only on health, mental health, and physical health. Why such a sick society you have brought in? Such a prosperous nation, the most affluent nation on the planet Earth. This is because you don't know how to handle your own energies, how to handle your thought and emotion to your advantage. You don't know how to derive happiness from within. Because all the spiritual practices are not thought there, not known. Only material things will make man happy. No. Culture and spirituality at this level are as important as your food, clothing, and shelter. రోటీ కపడా మకాన్ ఎంత ఇంపార్టెంటో మనిషి స్థాయిలో సంస్కృతి సంస్కారం కూడా అంతే స్థాయిలో ఇంపార్టెంట్. అది లేకపోతే యూ విల్ నాట్ ఫైండ్ ఎనీ హ్యాపీనెస్ ఫ్రమ్ విత్ ఇన్. These material things will never make you happy, and that's why some culture and spiritual empowerment, cultural empowerment and spiritual empowerment, such things will happen. I don't know actually that governments will have the capacity, governments will have the policymakers will go deep and study it, why such a thing has happened. They will only go out on the surface. No, we could have but control the crowd better. But that only they will conclude. That's, no police were there, crowd was not managed well, that's why the stampede happened. They will come to such conclusion. That's not. The root cause is something different. Why such a huge number of people had gathered there in the first place? People they were seeking a drop of happiness. From where they get their happiness? Through this kind of partying and revelry. But there is a better way to derive happiness, through selfless service, prayer, and meditation. These things actually you have to teach the youth of the country. Mostly actually that should happen when you are in school. At this age it's difficult to teach because already you think you are well formed and you know everything, and very difficult actually to impart knowledge or culture. It's a little late in life. School age is the best time. Okay. Thank you, Aman. Have a nice day.